So now I'm going to start talking a little bit about the esoteric dimension. It's a little hard to see with this, but this is Mr. Natural, and probably the first printed, offset printed blotter that had an image on it was Mr. Natural. It wasn't this piece, it was a different image, but there were many Mr. Naturals. There was a lot of copying, and this obviously copy-driven kind of medium. So something would come out and they do another version of it, they do another different angle of it. So the Mr. Natural there's like 8 or 10 different versions of it in the DEA record. But Mr. Natural, I think, is a very fit figure for this iconic turn in blotter art. Because on the one hand, he is a sort of mystic, right? He's associated with the Hate Street. He's got the long white beard. He's sort of a guru character. And so it kind of, references the spiritual dimension of acid, but he's also a satiric character that was designed by R. Crumb to precisely make fun of these kinds of aspirations in the more doe-eyed hippie zone that he was very much on the side of. And so in a way it captures a really important tension in the sacred aspect of this blotter art, of LSD art. And, just to kind of give you the reveal is my basic way of thinking about it is that the sacred in LSD culture in general, LSD consciousness in general, but also in the blotter art, is that the sacred is always in relationship with the profane. And indeed, the real sacred unit in psychedelic consciousness, or at least acid consciousness, I'll just say acid consciousness, is precisely the pivot of the sacred and the profane, and the way they keep undermining each other in a sometimes humorous and sometimes kind of alarming manner. Some of the early images that we see from the 1970s are patterned and abstract in a sacred geometric way. There's an early figure that I might read a little bit about later, known as the Electric Buddha. And he, like a lot of people in the Hate, were very interested in numerology, in pattern, in magic squares, a lot of stuff that's kind of like, in a way, sort of the low rent side of esoterica, I would argue, but was a very important part of the Hate Street ideas and manifested itself on the blotter art. Some more specifically occult elements, and now we're going to talk about occultism, start to appear. This is from Levy's book on magic, which came out in the 1856 or something like that, Tetragrammaton. And this one was kind of interestingly printed because the reverse of the hit, which I don't have an image of, was the reverse colors, so black, white on black, black on white, and the ink itself had the acid in it, which is not usually what they did. Usually they print it and then dip it later. And this one was actually infused with it, so it gives it a kind of extra punch. And part of the question behind all this that I'm just going to pose as a question is, what are these images? Like, how do they function? What are they? Are they brands? Are they sigils? Are they prayers? Are they jokes? Are they, symbols of tribal identity? They're all of these things and more. And so, keep that kind of question in mind.